Class 10th, Science, Chapter 1, Chemical Reactions and Equations. What is a chemical reaction? Chemical reaction is a process in which the original substance lose their nature and identity and forms a new chemical substance with different properties. So, two or more than two substances with certain chemical properties combine and undergo a reaction to form something which is chemically different from the one that started the reaction. This process is called a chemical reaction. Chemical reaction involves a chemical change. There are two types of changes: physical change, where there is change of state, for example, melting of ice, and chemical change, where there is change in chemical properties of a substance. So, a chemical change is the rearrangement of atoms of one or more substances and a change in the chemical properties or composition resulting in formation of at least one new substance. So, for example, two hydrogen molecules combine with one oxygen molecule, resulting in formation of two water molecules. This is a balanced chemical equation. 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O, where the two molecules of hydrogen that are bounded each by one covalent bond and one molecule of oxygen bounded to each other with one covalent bond rearrange themselves to form two separate water molecules, where one oxygen molecule binds with two hydrogen molecules and two such molecules are formed. So there is rearrangement of the atoms in the two substances. But the final number of atoms on each side of the equation always remains constant. So on the left hand side, we can see there are four hydrogen atoms and two oxygen atoms. And on the right hand side, again, there are four hydrogen atoms and two oxygen atoms. This is called a chemical change. Examples of chemical change in our day to day life: browning of apple, cooking of food, digestion of food, burning of candle wax, and fermentation of grapes. All these changes involved certain chemical changes that transform the original object into something different, which is kind of irreversible. In a chemical reaction, the substance taken originally are called reactants, and the new chemical substance that is formed after the reaction is called as the product. So, A and B, when combined, undergo a reaction to form the new product AB. So, A and B separately are called reactants on the left hand side, and AB, the new substance formed, is called the product. If we see an example, carbon plus oxygen results in formation of carbon dioxide. So carbon and oxygen are reactants and carbon dioxide is the product of this reaction. Examples of chemical reactions: burning of a magnesium ribbon in air. When we heat a magnesium metal strip in presence of air, that is oxygen, it results in formation of magnesium oxide. So 2Mg plus O2 gives 2MgO. This reaction releases a lot of heat and light and burns with a dazzling flame. Next reaction is a reaction between lead nitrate and potassium iodide, leads to formation of lead iodide, which is presented in form of yellow precipitate, and potassium nitrate. So PbNO3 plus Ki gives PbI plus Kn. Next reaction is reaction between zinc and dilute sulfuric acid. So Zn plus dilute H2SO4 gives ZnSO4, that is zinc sulfate, and H2, that is hydrogen. This hydrogen is seen in form of bubbles popping out of the test tube. If we bring a burning sprinter on the mouth of the test tube, it will burn with a popping sound, concluding that hydrogen was released during this reaction because hydrogen is a combustible gas. Similarly, if zinc reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid, HCl. So Zn plus 2HCl diluted gives ZnCl2, which is zinc chloride plus hydrogen. Again, the hydrogen is released in form of bubbles in the test tube, and if we bring a burning sprinter at the mouth of the test tube, it burns with a popping sound, confirming the release of hydrogen during this reaction. So we can understand that during chemical reaction, one or more of the following changes occur. These are called as the characteristics of chemical reaction. They are formation of precipitate, evolution of gas, change in color, absorption or evolution of heat. So, if we go back to our reaction, burning of magnesium ribbon, 2 Mg plus O2 gives 2 MgO. In this reaction, as we discussed, there was release of dazzling flame. So, there is evolution of heat. Such a reaction where heat is released is called as exothermic reaction. The heat is given out. The next reaction that we saw where PbNO3 plus potassium iodide combines to form PbI, that is lead iodide plus potassium nitrate. There was formation of lead iodide in this reaction, which is a yellow precipitate. So the two reactants taken initially, lead nitrate and potassium iodide, are white in color or they are colorless, but the product is yellowish color. So we can see there is change in color as well as there is formation of precipitate. Precipitate is an insoluble solid substance formed at the end of the reaction. In the next reaction, zinc plus dilute sulfuric acid gives zinc sulfate plus hydrogen. There was release of gas, that is hydrogen, and there is also absorption of a lot of heat. So this reaction is an endothermic reaction where the heat is taken in during conversion of the reaction. So it is an endothermic reaction. In the next reaction, we saw Zn plus 2HCl gives ZnCl2 plus H2. There is evolution of gas. So we can see in a chemical reaction, one or more than one of these changes happen to take place. These are called the characteristics of chemical reactions. Chemical equation. Shorthand method of representing a chemical reaction in terms of symbols and formulae of different reactants and products is called a chemical equation. So when we use the formula or the symbols of the elements and compounds to represent a chemical reaction, it is said a chemical equation. For example, zinc and sulfuric acid combines to form zinc sulfate and hydrogen. This is a word equation where we have written the complete names of reactants and products. If we substitute the names using symbols, so for zinc we put Zn, sulfuric acid we put H2SO4, and zinc sulfate we put ZnSO4, and hydrogen we put H2. This is a chemical equation. Writing a chemical equation. So there are 3 steps to writing a chemical equation. The symbols of and formula of reactants is written on the left hand side with a plus sign between them. The next step is to write the symbols and formula of the products on the right hand side with a plus sign between them. And then an arrow is put between the reactants and the products pointing in the direction from reactant towards products. That means the reaction has taken place and the product has been formed. For example, Zn plus H2SO4, these are the reactants. They have been written with a plus sign between them. Then on the right hand side, we put the products ZnSO4 plus H2 again with a plus sign between them, and then we put an arrow in between them pointing towards the product showing the direction of reaction. That means the reactants have been transformed into products. Coming back, now Zn plus H2SO4 will give you ZnSO4 plus H2 in this reaction if we tally the number of atoms on each side. So zinc has 1 atom on the LHS and 1 on the RHS. Hydrogen has 2 on the LHS and 2 on the RHS. Sulfur has 1 atom on the LHS and 1 on the RHS, and oxygen has 4 atom on the LHS as well as 4 atom on the RHS. So the number of atoms of each element is equal on both sides of this equation. An equation in which the number of atoms of each element on the two sides of equation are equal is called a balanced equation. So this equation is a balanced chemical equation. Now, if we look at another equation, Mg plus O2 gives MgO. We have seen this reaction previously where the magnesium ribbon burns in presence of air, forming its oxide. So in this, if we tally the number of atoms on LHS and RHS, magnesium has 1 atom on the LHS and 1 on the RHS. Oxygen has 2 atoms on LHS but 1 on RHS. So the number of atoms of each element is unequal on both sides of the equation. That is, there are 2 oxygen atoms on the LHS and 1 on the RHS. An equation in which the number of atoms of each element on the two sides of equation is not equal is called an unbalanced equation or a skeletal equation. So this equation is an unbalanced or a skeletal equation. So we have to come up with a method of balancing the chemical equation. So balancing the chemical equation has certain steps. Step 1, write the word equation. So we write the word equation of the reaction. Here the equation is iron plus steam combines to form magnetic oxide of iron plus hydrogen. Step 2, we write the chemical formulas. So skeletal equation has been completed. So now my equation is Fe plus H2O gives Fe3O4 plus H2. Step 3, listing the number of atoms on different sides of the reaction. So we form a table and we enlist the number of atoms of each and every element. So iron on LHS we have 1 and on RHS we have 3 atoms. Hydrogen 2 on LHS, 2 on RHS. Oxygen 1 on LHS and 4 on RHS. So we can clearly see the number of atoms are unbalanced and this equation has to be balanced. Step 4, selecting the biggest formula and balancing the element with highest number of atoms. So if we rewrite our equation, it was Fe plus H2O gives Fe3O4 plus H2. The biggest formula here is Fe3O4 and the atom with highest number is oxygen. It has 4 atoms on the RHS. So we begin with oxygen. So now if we see there are 4 oxygen atoms on the RHS but only 1 on the LHS. So to balance the number of oxygen atoms we put a 4 in front of water symbol and it becomes 4H2O. That means we have 4 oxygen atoms on the LHS and 4 oxygen atoms on the RHS. When we write a number in the front of the chemical formula, it is represented in form of multiplication. So we have 1 into 4 oxygen atoms on the LHS as well as RHS. So we can see the oxygen has been balanced. Next step, step 5, balancing the other atoms. So if we go back to our reaction, it is Fe plus now 4H2O gives Fe3O4 plus H2. The chemical symbols which are not balanced right now are iron and hydrogen. So we start with iron. We can see on the RHS there are 3 iron atoms and on the LHS there is 1. So we put a 3 in front of Fe. So we balance Fe on both sides LHS and RHS with 3 atoms each. Now the reaction becomes 3Fe plus 4H2O gives Fe3O4 plus H2. Next we see hydrogen. On the LHS we have 4 into 2, that is 8 hydrogen atoms, but on the RHS we have just 2. So to balance hydrogen we put a 4 in front of a hydrogen molecule on the RHS. So we can see now the hydrogen has been balanced. Now we check our equation, step 6. So the equation right now is 3Fe plus 4H2O gives Fe3O4 plus 4H2. We tally the elements with their atoms. So iron has 3 on LHS, 3 on RHS. Hydrogen has 8 on LHS and 8 on RHS. Oxygen has 4 on LHS and 4 on RHS. So we can see the numbers have been equalized and also there is increased in number of atom altogether that we took from the initial reaction, the skeletal reaction till the balanced reaction. So our final balanced equation is 3Fe plus 4H2O gives Fe3O4 plus 4H2. Next, we can also add the description of the physical states of the reactants and products. So if this makes the reaction more descriptive and lets us understand what is the state of element, because if you remember when we wrote the word equation we said iron combines with steam. So if we put the states here, we have Fe, which is S solid. We have put a small s in the subscript within a bracket. Then water, which was in gaseous state, that is steam. The product which is formed, ferric oxide, is S solid and hydrogen is released in gaseous form. So if we now look at the reaction, it is more descriptive and it tells you the state of reactants and products. Further moving on, step 8, we can add few more descriptions to this reaction. So first we can put the description of the state of solution. So in this reaction, CuSO4 aqueous results in formation of Cu di positive aqueous and So di negative aqueous. These are ions of copper sulfate. So we can understand the entire reaction is taking place in aqueous state. This is taking place in the solution with water. Next step, we can add the description of formation of precipitate. We have seen this reaction PbNO3 plus Ki gives PbI lead iodide plus KNO3. We saw that there was a yellow precipitate formation. So we can mention that in the reaction with a downward pointing arrow that makes sense that there is a precipitate formation of this particular compound. Further, we can add the detail of evolution of gas by putting an upward pointing arrow. In the reaction we have previously seen Zn plus H2SO4 gives ZnSO4 plus H2. We have put up arrow sign with hydrogen, which indicates that this is a gas which has been released during the reaction. Next, we can add the description of concentration of acid. We have mentioned H2SO4 in DIL dilute form. We can also put H2SO4 in concentrated form if it is in such a state during the reaction. Next, we can add the description of absorption or evolution of heat. When there is a release of heat, we put a triangle sign delta after the reaction with the products, which is an exothermic reaction. When there is an absorption of heat in an endothermic reaction, we put the sign of triangle, a delta, on the top of the arrow of the reaction. So this is an endothermic reaction. Then we can also put the description of reversibility of reaction, where we put a arrow which has two arrowheads on both sides. That means this particular reaction is interconvertible. The reactants and products continuously keep changing from their combined to an uncombined state. So CO2 plus H2O gives H2CO3, which is carbonic acid. So this reaction is reversible. The reactants get converted to products and the product can be turned back to reactants again. Types of chemical reaction. There are 5 types of chemical reaction: combination reaction, decomposition reaction, displacement reaction, double displacement reaction, and oxidation reduction reactions, also known as redox reaction. We begin with combination reaction, the reactions in which two or more elements or compounds combine together to form a single compound are called combination reactions. In these reactions, a single product is formed from two or more reactants. For example, A and B undergo a combination reaction to form AB. So, we can see there are two reactants which combine to form a single product, combination reactions. Now, combination reactions can take place in 3 ways. There can be combination of two elements, combination of two compounds, or combination between one element and one compound. Let's see some examples. Combination reactions between two elements. First example is burning of magnesium ribbon in air. We have seen this reaction. 2Mg plus O2 gives 2MgO, magnesium oxide. Next is burning of coal. Carbon or coal combines with oxygen to gives carbon dioxide. Next is formation of water. Hydrogen plus oxygen gives water. 2H2 plus O2 gives H2O. Formation of hydrochloric acid. H2 plus Cl2, hydrogen and chlorine, gives 2HCl hydrochloric acid. This particular reaction of formation of hydrochloric acid is used for commercial production of hydrochloric acid. Next reaction is reaction between water and quicklime, called as calcium hydroxide. CaO, calcium oxide, also called as quicklime, combines with water to give calcium hydroxide, CaOH whole twice, which is also called as slaked lime, plus heat. As we can see, there is production of heat along with the products. So this reaction gives out a lot of heat. Therefore, it is an exothermic reaction where heat is evolved. The slaked lime formed in this reaction, which is calcium hydroxide, is used to whitewash the walls, where it comes in contact with carbon dioxide present in air and forms a thin layer of calcium carbonate. This gives a shiny appearance to the whitewashed walls. So CaOH whole twice, which is slaked lime, combines with carbon dioxide from air and gives CaCO3, calcium carbonate plus water. Reaction between two compounds. Here we can see reaction between ammonia and sulfuric acid. 2NH3 plus H2SO4 gives ammonium sulfate NaH4 whole twice SO4. Next is reaction between one element and one compound. So CO2 is the compound carbon dioxide combines with carbon to form carbon monoxide. CO2 plus C gives 2CO. Combination reactions are mostly exothermic reactions. That means along with the formation of product, a lot of heat is produced. So such reactions are called as exothermic chemical reactions. So exothermic reactions are the ones in which a lot of heat and energy is released. Some examples are burning of natural gas, CH4, which is methane, combines with oxygen to give you CO2, carbon dioxide, and water, releasing a lot of heat. Respiration in human body, where there is oxidation of glucose, C6H12O6, combining with oxygen, gives 6CO2, carbon dioxide, and 6H2O, water, with release of energy, which is used for bodily activities. Next is decomposition reaction. The reactions in which a single compound breaks down to form two or more simpler compounds is called decomposition reaction. They are exactly opposite of combination reaction. As we can see in example, a product AB undergoes decomposition and breaks down into its component A and B. The decomposition reaction requires some kind of external energy to proceed. So, some kind of external energy is supplied to the reactant so that it undergoes decomposition. This energy can be in form of heat energy, electrical energy, or light energy. So, decomposition in reactions which take place by absorption of heat, we can see lead nitrate PbNO3 whole twice. This compound, when heated, undergoes decomposition and produces three different subcomponents: lead oxide, nitric oxide, and nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. So 2PbNO3 whole twice, lead nitrate, undergoes decomposition in presence of heat, gives 2PbO, 4NO2 plus O2. This is an example of thermal decomposition reaction. Similar examples of thermal decomposition reaction is ferrous sulfate, which is green in color, undergoes thermal decomposition to give anhydrous ferrous sulfate, which is white in color, plus water. So FeSO4.7H2O gives FeSO4, which is anhydrous ferrous sulfate, plus 7H2O. Next, CuSO4.5H2O, which is pentahydrate copper sulfate, blue in color, undergoes thermal decomposition to give you CuSO4 anhydrous copper sulfate, white in color, plus water. Next reaction, potassium chlorate 2KClO undergoes thermal decomposition to give you 2KCl potassium chloride plus oxygen. This reaction produces oxygen and it is used for preparation of oxygen gas in laboratories. Next is decomposition reactions which takes place when electricity is passed through them. So we can see a beaker containing water in which two electrodes are dipped, and when the circuit is connected to a battery, the electricity flows through this solution of water, and we can see release of hydrogen and oxygen at the two electrodes of this circuit. So water under the effect of electric current decomposes into hydrogen and oxygen. 2H2O under electric current gives 2H2 and O2. So the two gases are released. This is an example of electrolytic decomposition reaction. Similar reactions are decomposition of sodium chloride. 2NaCl gives 2Na plus Cl2. This reaction is used for preparation of sodium in laboratories. Another example is alumina, which is ore of aluminium, Al2O3, gives 4Al metal aluminium and oxygen 3O2. This reaction is used for extraction of the metal aluminium. Next is decomposition reactions which take place by absorption of light. Silver chloride, when exposed to sunlight, undergoes photodecomposition, that is 2AgCl silver chloride decomposes to form 2Ag silver plus Cl2 chlorine. So AgCl, which is silver chloride, is whitish in color, and when it undergoes decomposition, the color of the substance changes to grayish, which is the silver. This is an example of photodecomposition. Similar examples are silver bromide 2AgBr gives 2Ag, which is silver, plus bromine. Silver bromide is light yellow in color, which is exposed to sunlight, changes to silver, producing a grayish discoloration. Another example is decomposition of hydrogen peroxide. 2H2O2 undergoes photodecomposition to give water plus oxygen. This is the reason why hydrogen peroxide is always kept in colored bottles to cut off lights and prevent its decomposition. Displacement reaction. A reaction in which a more active element displaces a less active element from the compound is called as displacement reaction. For example, a compound AB combines with C, where C displaces a part of the compound and the product is AC plus B. Displacement reactions depend on the reactivity series. The reactivity series is the arrangement of metals in a vertical column in order of their decreasing reactivity from top to bottom. This series is called as reactivity series. If we see, potassium, which is at the top of the reactivity series, is the most reactive metal and platinum is the least. The higher metal in reactivity series can always displace the lower lying metal from its salt solution because of its greater reactivity. That is the fundamental basis of a displacement reaction. An example of displacement reaction is when we dip an iron nail in a copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solution is bluish in color, as we can see, and when an iron nail is dipped into the solution, iron being at a higher level in the reactivity series compared to copper displaces copper from its solution and the solution turns greenish. So Fe plus CuSO4 produces FeSO4 iron sulfate plus copper. A similar reaction is lead plus copper chloride CuCl2 produces lead chloride PbCl2 plus Cu. The solution of CuCl2 copper chloride is greenish in color, and when it comes in contact with lead metal, the solution changes to whitish color because the lead being higher in the series displaces copper from its solution and leads to formation of lead chloride, which is white in color. Next reaction is zinc and copper sulfate. When zinc metal is dipped into a copper sulfate aqueous solution, it displaces copper from its salt and leads to formation of zinc sulfate plus copper because zinc lies higher in the reactivity series compared to copper. The displacement reaction between metals and acids. If we see, there is hydrogen in this reactivity series, although it is not a metal, but since it behaves like metal by gaining one positive charge, losing one electron, that is why it is put in this reactivity series, and the presence of hydrogen is a demarcation of reactivity of metals with acids. Because when a metal reacts with acid, there is release of hydrogen ions. So the metals above in reactivity series show displacement reactions with acids, and metals below the hydrogen in reactivity series do not show any displacement reaction with acid. So when zinc is put in sulfuric acid solution, aqueous solution, it displaces hydrogen and it forms zinc sulfate plus release of hydrogen gas because it is lying higher in the series above hydrogen. But if same sulfuric acid is reacted with gold, there is no reaction because gold lies below hydrogen and it is less reactive and it is unable to displace hydrogen from its solution. Therefore, we see no reactions. Application of displacement reaction in metallurgy. We can find displacement reaction very useful in thermite welding, where ferric oxide Fe2O3 combines with aluminium in presence of a lot of heat, gives aluminium oxide Al2O3 plus molten iron, which is used for welding. Displacement reactions are also used in extractions of metal from their ore. For example, Fe2O3, which is iron ore, combines with coke, that is carbon, where there is a displacement reaction that takes place, leading to formation of iron, molten iron, 2Fe plus 3CO, carbon monoxide. Next is double displacement reactions. Double displacement reactions are reactions in which two different group of atoms are exchanged. For example, we have a compound AB and a compound AC. When they are put together, they undergo a double displacement reaction and there is swapping of the elements. So the product is AC and BD. For example, sodium sulfate Na2SO4 combines with barium chloride BaCl2, leads to formation of barium sulfate and 2NaCl, which is sodium chloride. So we can see when sodium sulfate is added to barium chloride solution present in the beaker, a whitish precipitate is formed. This occurs because there is exchange of anions, sodium exchanges with barium, and the solution swaps itself. So there is formation of barium sulfate, which is a whitish precipitate. Since in this reaction, a insoluble salt is formed which settles down at the bottom of the beaker called precipitate. This reaction is also called as precipitation reaction. Next reactions are oxidation reduction reaction. They are commonly called as redox reaction. So let's understand what is oxidation and what is reduction. Oxidation means addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. That means, say for a compound A, if it gains oxygen or if it loses hydrogen, it is said to be undergoing oxidation. Reduction is removal of oxygen and or addition of hydrogen. Say for example, a compound A gains hydrogen or loses oxygen, it is said to have undergo reduction. If we heat copper, which is red in color, in presence of air, Cu combines with oxygen in presence of heat, forms copper oxide, which is brown in color. Since copper has gained oxygen, we say copper has been oxidized. Now, if we continue heating this copper oxide and allow hydrogen to pass through this substance, the brownish color copper oxide combines with hydrogen in presence of heat to give copper, which is red in color, and water. Since copper has lost its oxygen, we say copper has been reduced. So CuO plus H2 gives Cu plus H2. Here copper oxide has been reduced to copper, so there is reduction, and hydrogen has been oxidized to form water. That is why oxidation has taken place. A similar reaction, ZnO, zinc monoxide plus carbon, gives zinc plus carbon monoxide. So since zinc has lost its oxygen, it has said to be undergone reduction, and since carbon has gained an oxygen, it is said to have undergone oxidation. Another reaction, ferric oxide Fe2O3 combines with aluminium 2Al, undergoes and forms Al2O3 aluminium oxide and Fe, which is iron, in molten form. Since iron has lost its oxygen and becomes Fe, it has said to have undergone reduction. And since aluminium has been oxidized, it has gained oxygen, it is said to be undergoing oxidation. So the substance that undergoes reduction and gives away the oxygen is called as oxidizing agent, and the substance that undergoes oxidation and gains the oxygen is called as reducing agent. In the figure, we can see that A is giving the oxygen to B. So A is the oxidizing agent and B is the reducing agent. In the same reactions that we just saw, copper oxide, zinc oxide, and ferric oxide, all three of the substances have lost their oxygen, so they are called as oxidizing agent. They were the substances which were giving oxygen, which were making oxygen available. On the other hand, carbon, hydrogen, and aluminium gained electrons and they cause the reduction, so they are called as reducing agents. Effects of oxidation reactions in everyday life. There are two common effects of oxidation that we can see in day-to-day life: corrosion and rancidity. Corrosion is the process of gradual deterioration of a metal by chemical or electrochemical reaction with their environment. It involves tarnishing and slow eating up of the metal due to attack of atmospheric gases, moisture on the surface of metal. So if a metal is exposed to oxygen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide present in the air, in presence of moisture, that is water, it leads to formation of metal oxides, metal carbonates, and metal sulfides respectively, which gives the metal a tarnished appearance or even tends to eat away the metal or corrode the metal. Some examples are corrosion of copper. 2CO combines with carbon dioxide, oxygen, and water present in air, leads to formation of basic copper carbonate, which is greenish in color, CuCO3.CuOH whole twice. So if we expose copper objects to moist air, we can see a greenish discoloration which is formed because of a coating of copper carbonate that appears because of corrosion. Similarly, tarnishing of silver. 2Ag combines with H2S, hydrogen sulfide, leads to formation of silver sulfide, which is blackish in color, plus hydrogen. So exposed silver to moist air, it turns blackish because of a coating of silver sulfide on top of it, which is called as tarnishing of silver. Corrosion of iron is a special case and is called as rusting. Iron articles, when exposed to moist air, that is, presence of air and water vapor, undergo corrosion and a brown flaky substance is formed on the surface. This substance is called as rust and this process is called as rusting. Rust is nothing but hydrated ferric oxide which is formed due to attack of oxygen and water vapor present in the air on the surface of iron. So 2Fe plus 3 by 2 oxygen plus X H2O. This X represents n number of molecules of water depending upon the availability, leads to formation of hydrated ferric oxide which is rust Fe2O3.XH2O. Rusting is a continuous process. The layer of rust eventually peels off, exposing the fresh metal surface, and then that new surface starts reacting and the rusting continues. So if rusting is not arrested at some point, it will ultimately eat up the whole object. Methods of preventing rusting. Rusting can be prevented by applying a coat on the metal surface so that iron is not exposed to the atmospheric components directly. So we can go for painting, greasing, oiling or galvanization. Galvanization is coating a surface with zinc. These create a coat on the surface of the metal and prevents it to come in contact with air. Aluminium is a metal which is highly resistant to corrosion because when aluminum is exposed to air, Al plus 3O2 gives Al2O3 aluminium oxide. This aluminium oxide forms a non-penetrable black layer which does not allow the moist air to come in contact with the metal surface. So it forms a protective coating over the actual aluminium and it protects the underlying metal from corrosion. Next is rancidity. Rancidity is hydrolysis or oxidation of fats and oils exposed to air, light, moisture and bacteria, and this makes a food item unfit for consumption. Methods of preventing rancidity are adding antioxidants to food, vacuum packaging which prevents the contact with air, replacing nitrogen by air. Packed foods are generally filled with nitrogen because it is a non-reactive gas, and refrigeration of food which cools down the temperature of the food product and prevents the growth of bacteria.